Hey guys, Carl from Purple Moose Place. Today I'm going to be taking a look at the city building game Rolling Heights from designer John D Clair and publisher AEG Games, in which you find yourself rolling meeples to generate resources and then spending those resources to put plots out in the city, ultimately building buildings on those plots, and then scoring points based on the placement of those buildings and sort of end game scoring goals. Disclaimer, I was given a review copy of this game for this video, but as always I will do my best to offer my own honest opinion for this game. With that said, let's head down to the table to see how the solo mode plays, and then I'll meet you back up here to let you know what I think. Before we get started, I just want to say that this game has a very large footprint on the table, so I'm going to have to arrange things a little bit strangely on camera to fit it all in. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get into setup. To set up a solo game of Rolling Heights, begin by placing out the map tiles. Now there are 6 map tiles with A and B sides. You can see here there's a letter A and a letter B. For the solo game, you will play like the 2-player game using just the A side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shuffle these boards up a bit, flipping some of them around as I shuffle, and then we're going to place them out in a 3x2 grid, like this. Then normally you would place this scoring and sort of player aid board up above the board like that, but I'm not going to have space on this screen, so I'm just going to stick it right here like this. Next I'll set up the 2 sort of tile market tracks. These are 3 pieces and generally when playing would be assembled in such a way that it runs along the side of the board, but even that doesn't fit on the screen, so I'm going to run them sideways across the screen like that. And then I'll do the same thing for the level 2 tiles just below it. Then to finish setup of those tile markets, I'm going to take the 2 different level sets of buildings, being level 1 here and level 2 there, shuffling them all up and then placing one building out in each of the marked slots on the track. And you will see that even with everything squeezed on the screen, these last 2 tiles are a little bit cut off at the edge, and just beyond them off screen are the stacks of the rest of the tiles that I would use to fill in the slots as they get used during gameplay. Then next I'm going to set up my player area. First I'm going to take one of the storage boxes. You can use either the lid or the inside of the box. In this case, this is a lid. Place that there. I will of course be playing purple. To start every game we get 2 brown carpenter meeples and 2 gray construction meeples. I'll throw them in my box for right now. The other pieces I start with are these ownership markers here, which I'll stick off to the side right here, as well as my score track marker, which I will set up here at 0. And for the AI, they do not use any meeples during the game, so I'm simply going to set out their ownership markers here and also set their score marker at 0. And for the solo game, we're going to need a way to track rounds because the AI will perform slightly differently as the game progresses. So I'm going to place out a score tracker from a non-used player color, in this case yellow, and that'll start at 0 as well, and that will be used to keep track of the rounds as we play. To finish setting up the AI for the game, they will be using a 6-sided die, which I will place there. And also each of the 6 districts of the map need to be marked, so I'm going to place out markers on each of the districts, matching the number of the district being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. There are a few final things that we do need to do to set up the game. I need to set up 3 add tiles in these 3 spaces right here. Those are going to be sort of end game scoring goals that both myself and the AI will be using during the game. So I'll place 3 out right now, and then I will explain later when we get into gameplay what those 3 things mean. In addition to the shared end game goals that are given by the add tiles, I will also be taking 2 of these target tiles as my own sort of personal goals. The AI will not get those themselves. And I'll place those down here, and I'll explain in a little bit what those do as well. Finally, to finish setup, I need to place out all the building materials, the meeples, and the wild tokens. Now on screen you will see that I put out the wood, concrete, glass, and steel materials, and that's because these 4 materials are going to sort of be the timer for the game because if one of these runs out, the game end will trigger. But everything else I'm going to leave off screen just to save space. And that includes these orange sort of wild resources that will come out at the end of the game after one of those resources is empty. And also these wild resource tokens that will come out through various means in the game. And then finally, the supply of other meeples that look something like this that I will be sort of buying or gaining as we play. Those will also be set off to the side, and I'll pull them in as necessary. And with that, we are all set up for a playthrough of Rolling Heights. So Rolling Heights is going to play out over a series of rounds until one or more of these 4 main resource types completely runs out at the end of a turn, in which case we will finish that round and complete one final round before moving into final scoring. And the game is always going to play out that I take my turn first, followed by the AI. So the AI will always be the end of a round. So regardless of whether myself or the AI triggers the end of the game, we will finish the AI's turn, and then we will both get one final turn. And as with most games, the person with the most points at the end of the game will be the winner. And the way we're going to score points is from a variety of different sources. First, we can score points when we build buildings in certain locations on the board that are marked with points. We can score points by completing certain buildings that have points values written on them. We will score 1 point per wild tile or wild resource tile that we have left at the end of the game. And then finally, we will both score these shared goals, and I will choose one of my 2 target goals to score at the end of the game. So let me walk you through those goals, and then I'll walk you through how the game plays. So for this game, the 3 adds or the 3 shared goals we'll be using are, this one here says per completed set of these 4 different building types, sort of parks, houses, industry, and commercial. This one says if we complete one of these sort of monument buildings, we're going to gain 2 points for every completed house, industry, or commercial that's adjacent to that monument. And then finally, I'm going to score 4 points, or we're each going to score 4 points per neighborhood where we have the tallest completed building. So those are shared goals that we'll both be scoring. So I want to do everything I can to maximize the points that I'm getting from those and minimize the points that the AI is getting from those. And then my 2 target tiles, again, I only get to score one of these at the end of the game. The first one says we get 2 points for every pink meeple we have and 2 points for every gold meeple we have. Oh, and this one's similar. I've never seen either of these before, and now I'm getting both of them. That's kind of interesting. Here I get 2 points for these sort of magenta meeples and 2 points for each green meeple. So I kind of want to focus on either pink and yellow or pink and gold or this sort of magenta and green. We'll see how that comes out in just a minute. Now, since I will be the first player or the starting player of every round, rather than try and explain all of the rules of the game to you before playing anything, I'm going to sort of step-by-step walk through the first round, teaching you how to play as we go. And then after we finish the first round, I'll just continue my playthrough moving forward. But one thing I did forget before we get started as part of setup is I get to choose one of these level 1 tiles for free, placing it out on the board where I'd like to, with the restriction that we cannot place it out on any of the spaces that show cubes like this because these cubes require me to spend resources, and I don't have any resources yet. That said, you'll see many of these spaces have a sort of gold or brownish border around them with a point value in the corner. And that point value in the corner is what we're going to score if we place a building of that type in that location. So I am allowed to place in any of the locations like these 3 down here or this one right here that doesn't have a cube or a resource printed on it, but does score me points. So I could start the game by scoring points, which is not a bad idea to do. Looking at the stuff out there, I often like to start early by getting glass or steel resources. So I'm going to just take this very first tile. And I guess while we're here, let me just go ahead and explain what this does. So every tile is going to have a series of sort of spaces or colored spaces on them with a number on them. And in order to complete this tile, I have to fill in those spaces with a stack of the number as printed of that specific resource on that space. So once all of that's filled, I get whatever it shows at the bottom of the tile. In this case, I'd get 1 point and a glass meeple. And I'll explain what that means in just a second when I talk about what the meeples do for us. And I am going to place that right here on this space, which says if I place a house or a park, I score 1 point. So placing that there is automatically going to score me 1 point like that. And now these will all slide down. And then as I promised, we will start the first round, and I'll explain to you as we go how the game plays. So at the beginning of every round, again, I will take my turn first. We're going to take all of the meeples available to us up to a total of 10. Means if we have more than 10 meeples, we have to choose which 10 we're going to use. And we're going to roll those meeples into the box. And we're going to be looking for one of three things. The meeple can be laying down flat like this. It could be standing up on its feet like that, or it could be sort of standing on its head, and I may not see that well on camera, standing on its head or sort of laying on its side like this as a sort of standing but not completely standing position. And those are the three possible positions I'm looking for. And I'm going to roll my meeples like that, and any of them that are standing straight up or are standing sort of on their head, I'm going to take out. So this brown right here is standing on its head. And this might be a little bit tough to see on camera, so I will explain as we go. But these three, I hope you can see, are all laying flat in the box. Now, the rules say that as long as there are a majority of my meeples, means more than half of my meeples are laying down, I get to re-roll for free. If at least half of them have come out of the box, I can continue to roll, but if I push my luck and I roll after half of them have come out, if all of them end up laying down, I'm basically busting, and I'm going to have to return half of the ones that I've pulled out back to the box, and for doing so I will get one wild resource as a sort of door prize, or sorry you got hurt kind of prize. So we roll again. All right, so there's another gray standing on its head, and there are two laying down. So there are two out and two in. Now I could push my luck and roll again. If I did, I'd have to put one of these back into the box. But again, I would get a wild resource. And that's actually not a bad idea right now because losing one to get a wild is not a huge problem. So let's see what happens. And I don't get lucky. They are both flat, so I will be placing one back into the box. So I'm going to get rid of the gray one. But I will, as I said, take one wild resource. And I'll stick that right there. Let me turn this like that. That way I have some space. Okay. Then, anything that stays outside of the box we're going to get to spend. And the brown, gray, glass, or clear and blue meeples are going to be our sort of standard resource generation. So if the brown meeple is on its head or on its side, I will gain 1 cube. If it's standing on its feet, 2 cubes of wood. Concrete, same thing, 1 concrete or 2 concrete. Glass, 1 glass, 2 glass, or blue, 1 steel, 2 steel. And we're going to be able to use those resources in a variety of different ways, but let me quickly explain the other meeples that we could get. The magenta meeples are going to give us these sort of gold cubes. Gold cubes are not a resource that we have. They are instead sort of money that we can instantly spend on buying a building, but they can only be spent on buying a building. Normally resources could be spent on buying a building or constructing a building, and these will not be allowed to construct, only to spend as money to buy something. The yellow meeple, which is the politician, is simply going to give us points. If it's on its side, 1 point. If it's on its feet, 2 points. The pink meeple on its side will allow me to get 1 free reroll without busting. And if it's standing on its feet, I get to take any one building plan and place it anywhere. Now, that's important because placement usually has restrictions to it, which I'll explain in just a minute when we get there. But if I get one with the pink meeple, I can place it anywhere I'd like. The green meeple are sort of going to be upgrades. If it's on its side, I upgrade once. And if it's standing on its feet, I upgrade twice. And what does that mean? It means I can go from laying down to standing on its side, or I can go from standing on its side to standing up. Both of those is a single upgrade. And then finally, the purple meeples, as written here, is nothing. It just says see the building. Any building that gives you a purple meeple, for example, this one right here, will explain exactly what it does with purple meeples. So in this case, I would receive a purple meeple from completing this building. And it says if it lands on its side, I gain 1 point for every standing up glass, and 2 points for every standing up glass if the purple one is also standing up. So once I've rolled my meeples, I can then allocate my meeples or use my meeples to get what they do up here. And then I'm allowed to purchase one building here and place it out on the board. But the rule for placement is that in order for me to place for free, I need to place orthogonally adjacent to a tile that I've already placed out in a previous round. In addition, if I place on any of these squares that have a resource printed on them, I have to pay the number of resources there to place the building there. If I decide that I'd like to place a building somewhere that's not orthogonally adjacent to something I've already placed, I have to spend one additional resource for every space I need to skip in order to get there. So if I wanted to place diagonally adjacent to this tile, I'd have to spend one additional resource to skip this one and then place there. Also, I did forget that when you place, and I should have done this already, you should place one of your ownership markers on that tile to remember that it's yours. And eventually, when you do fill in all the spaces on that tile, you will cap off that tile with your ownership marker to show that it is complete. Now, I did say we're buying tiles to place out on the board. The way that you buy it is simply to pay the number of resources shown at the space where the tile is. So if I want to buy this, I have to spend one resource. If I want to buy this one, I'd have to spend 2 resources, and so on. Also, you'll see that these first 2 spots have a lighter green color than the rest of the spots. What that means is, if we buy any building from here and further, after that happens, we're going to place 1 wild resource on each of those first 2 tiles. So these first 2 tiles will start accumulating resources and making them more and more sort of viable or more and more important to us to pick up. Now, the other thing we can do with our resources, aside from spending them to buy buildings and place buildings, is simply to place them out on tile. For example, this tile will hold 3 brown resource cubes, so I can place them there as well. However, at the end of any turn, any resource cubes that I have remaining will not be used. They will go back into the supply. And it's only after that that we check to see if any of the resources have emptied. So even if I'm holding resources and that pile is empty, that doesn't count as the end of the game because there still is an available resource until I use it for something. And when I say use it for something, I mean placing it out on a building, because if I'm using that resource to buy something, it automatically goes back to the supply as well. Sorry, one more thing that I did forget. At the start of the round, this yellow cube, which does mark the rounds, should have moved to round 1 to mark that we are in round 1. Then, let's take my turn. I'm going to place this guy back into the box to take 1 brown resource because he was standing on his side. And then, this one's going to get me 5 points per set of various, or sort of all 4 types of building. This is cheap. It might be worth it. It's going to score, this park will score 2 points for every adjacent house, park, or commercial. I can see that this gets me points for houses. This gets me points for house, parks, and commercial. If I put a park there, I could potentially score lots of points as we build around that. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to spend my 1 brown cube to buy that park and place it there for free because it's adjacent and there's nothing printed there. And then I will place one of my ownership markers there. Now, it's worth mentioning that this scoring at the bottom happens as soon as I finish building this park. So I want to make sure it's surrounded by things before I build anything. So that's the end of my turn. On the AI's turn, they're going to simply roll the die. And here they roll the 1. So this number is going to tell us both which neighborhood they're placing in, and also which tile they're drafting. But before I do that, of course, I should slide all of these tiles down to fill the market. because the AI's turn is going to depend on not just the number they rolled, but the current state of that sort of region that they rolled. In this case, they rolled 1, and the first thing they're going to check is, do they have any buildings in that area? If not, they're going to select a tile from level 1. If so, then they're going to check, is that building completed building? If not, it's going to work on building that building. But if it is completed, they're going to then start buying level 2. So they're only ever going to have one level 1 tile in each of the 6 regions, and they're only going to have one active tile in any of the 6 regions at any given time. So because they rolled a 1, they're placing in region 1, and they're also taking the first tile on the track. This would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So they're going to take this tile, and they're going to place that in the center space of the tile, which in this case they can't because it's water, so they will place adjacent to that center space, and I get to choose where they place if there are multiple spaces to place. It's also worth mentioning that the AI will never have to pay the additional resource costs as shown on the board, and also in subsequent rounds when they do place a second building, it will always be orthogonally adjacent to something they've placed. So I really don't want them to score those points, so I will place that right here because that's still only one space away from the center tile. So that goes right there. And then whenever the AI places a tile, they're instantly going to put out 3 resources plus one of their ownership markers on that tile. So I'm going to place 3 glass out on that tile because it does need 3 glass and 1 concrete. Those 3 go there. So that building is still under construction by the AI. So on a subsequent turn, if they do roll a 1, again, they will simply complete that building rather than building a new building. But I say complete, they're actually going to be able to place out up to 12 more resources on that tile on a subsequent turn. And that's important because some buildings will take more resources than 12 in addition to the original 3. So it might take more than 2 rounds for them to complete a very large building. In addition, when the AI completes a building, they don't care at all about what's printed on the tile. Instead, they're simply going to score 1 point per resource that they use to build that building. And the AI is going to continue playing out that way, except that the reason we're keeping track of rounds is that from round 6 on, the AI is going to do that twice. What I just showed, rolling a die, checking the space, and either placing or building. And then from round 12, the AI is going to do that 3 times. So they're going to sort of escalate as the game progresses. So I'd like to try and rush the end of the game if possible, because I'd rather not have a ton of rounds after round 12, but we'll see what we can do. All of these slide back down like that. And it is again my turn. So we're going to take the die out of there. We will roll our 4 maples. Now I've got a gray guy standing up on his feet, a brown guy standing up on his feet, and 1 brown on his side. I'm going to stop there because that's a pretty good roll. So I will trade those in for 3 brown resources and trade that in for 1 gray resource. And I'm going to instantly use those 3 brown resources to finish building the handle homes right here. And I will cap that like that to show that it's done. I should move, this to round 2 before taking my turn. Doing that, I score 1 point, and I get 1 glass meeple, or 1 architect. So that will go into my box for use in a future round. Now I'm left with 1 gray resource, so I could potentially buy one of these 2 pieces. Remembering though that I cannot place on either of these 2 spaces because they require me to have an additional resource to do so, but that's okay. I'm going to spend a single gray and I'm going to take this industrial building here. No, I'm not. Hold on. This one wants to score for houses, parks, and the commercial buildings. So I could take another park and try to score it near. That one scores based off of adjacent sort of monument buildings or landmark buildings, and also other parks and construction. Yeah, you know what? Let me take that. Aegis Park, and I will place that right there. like that. Because those both score off of adjacent parks, so that helps me. That slides down like this, and the AI takes their turn again. A 2, so we're placing in 2. 1, 2 means they're going to take that junkyard tile. Try to place it in the center. Means one of these 4 spaces. I don't want them to get 7 points. I'm going to put them over there like that. Placing out 3 resources. They will place out 3 of the concrete there. And there, they still need 1 more to finish that. So it doesn't finish. They'll place out their green marker like that. Round 3, my turn. Now I've got 5 meeples. I got that glass now that I can use. Before I do that, refreshing the market. And we roll. I've got a glass on his head, a wood on its head, a concrete on his head, and a concrete on his feet. We'll stop there. So I get 1 brown, 1 glass, and 3 concrete. 1, 2, 3 like that. And now I got to decide how to spend it. I'd love to get a commercial building. More parks don't help me. But I do kind of want, this gets me green and pink, which is what I want for my end game. This also can score nicely off of this here. Yeah, so I'm going to spend 2 gray to take that, placing that one there like that. Then, that's a little bit sad because I have lots of stuff left to spend. I'm just worried that if they roll a 1 or a 2, you know what? They won't. Never mind. Forget that. Forget that. It doesn't help too much yet. Hold on. I don't mind this Tiger Lounge. Yeah, I'm going to spend 3 resources, doesn't matter which, to buy that Tiger Lounge. And that is a commercial one. I'm going to put it here, like that. Which means I got to spend 1 more resource to place that there, which is a gray. Actually, you know what? I'm going to take back one of the glass that I put out and switch it for a gray, because then I'm going to place that glass here. Glass is a little bit more rare than concrete, so we'll do that. I place out one of my pieces there. Now, for placing on that location, I do get 1 point. So I will move up 1 space like that. Because I took this tile, I'm then going to add like that to those 2 spaces. This one slides down like that. And AI takes their turn. A 5. So they don't have anything in 5. They're going to start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right here, taking that tile. Place it in the center. Well, they have 2 options here or here. I'd like that because it's adjacent to me, so I'm going to give that to them. That means they score 2 points for placing that there. They will place their thing there. It's 2 concrete and 2 glass. I'll put out 2 concrete and 1 glass for now. Like that. Because they took the 3rd, I'm going to put out wilds on those 2 spots like that. And these all slide down like that. Flipping there like that. We move to round 4. All right, so re-rolling my meeples. I got 1 brown on his head. I think I may have just accidentally picked up one that was standing up as well, but let's see what happens. All right, glass on his head, brown and gray on their head, and that one is flat, so they stay in. I'm stopping there. Means I get 2 brown, 2 wood, I guess, a concrete, and a glass. And a glass. All right, then I do need a glass, but I need 3 concrete there, and I only have 1. And that's going to get me a magenta, which just helps me buying things later. I wouldn't mind getting that city hall right now, because it does have a wild. Although I know if they roll a 1 or a 2, they're only going to keep building, so that's safe for a minute. And if I buy something bigger, then that's going to get another wild on it. So that could be cool. A garden could go there for 3 resources. And that scores on houses and gardens. I plan on placing a house and a park there. I think I might do that. Although I do kind of want to get a blue at some point. But the industrial right now, all the industrial center is, where did I see that? Down here is industry. Now here is industry. I don't think I'm getting anywhere near there. But anyway, let's see. I am going to do that. So I'm going to spend two browns to buy that. And then I'll spend my concrete to place that there, which gets me 2 points for placing there. 1, 2. And I claim that as mine. And then I'll go ahead and place my last glass out right there, like that. These slide down, and I do have to place one more wild on the next 2 slots. Or sorry, the first 2 slots, like that. Good. AI takes their turn, rolls a 5 again, so they're simply going to place up to 12 cubes here. They only need to place 1 glass. So they'll place out that glass, which ends that. It gets capped. They score 2 concrete and 2 glass for 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. All right. Then we go to the next round, round 5. I roll my guys again. He got a gray on his head. Whoops. Another gray on his head. That's still not a majority. Well, sorry, the majority's still in. I'd really like at least 1 brown right now. Oh, sweet. We got 3 browns standing. Then I'm going to get 3 wood and 2 concrete for those. 3 wood and 2 concrete. I'm going to spend 2 wood to buy this city hall. And I'm going to slot that right in there like that. And I get those wilds back. Then I still have 2 concrete, which I will place out here, like that. And I might as well trade in one of my wild resources to get the last concrete to complete that building right there. So I'll cap that off right there. And then we're going to be tied for tallest building here. So I do 1 tallest here, and he's got a 2 there, he's got a 3 there. I need to start getting some tall buildings. There's a big one right there. Then I have 1 wood left, so I can score either this one or this one. This one will score 2 per these 3, so 2, 4, 6. This one will score 4 for this one, and 1 for each of these, also 6. But the best I can do here is 1 more, so that's going to score 7. If I get 1 there, that scores 1 more. So I'm going to place here instead, capping that off, and I score 4, 5, 6 points for that. And this one, sorry. I didn't score that yet. When I completed this, I get 3, so I'm scoring 9 points. So 5 goes 14, and I get 1 of the magenta meeples like this. Goes in my box for next round. These slide down like that. AI takes their turn. A 4, they don't have anything in 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. They're going to take this one, which does get them 1 wild. And they will score 1 point for each of those because they don't do anything with them. They're placing this in the center of 4, which unfortunately is a special slot. They're going to score 4 points for that. 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. Placing out 3 concrete. They still need 1 more to finish that. 1, 2, and 3 like that, but that is theirs. Good. Those all slide. I need a house. I wouldn't mind an industry to get glass because I'm going to need a lot of glass for City Hall. But I would not mind to have a house that gives me that instead. Sorry, steel. Yeah, if I can get this and place it here, that would be wonderful. Because this will score and this will score off of that. All right, I got one gray standing. Pink on his head, brown on its head. That's 3 and that's 3. That's done unless I choose to roll more. That gets me 2 concrete, a wood, and 2 purchase power. Yeah, that's good enough. I'd really rather keep pushing, but I'm not gonna. So I get 2 purchase power, 2 concrete, and 1 wood. And with that, I'm going to spend the 2 purchase power to get this house right here, the Big Sky high rise. And then I'm going to spend 2 concrete to place that house here for 3 points. Sorry, it is round 6. 1, 2, 3 points. And I place my marker there, and I forgot that I should also have a marker there. And then I have one last brown, which I will place here, gaining the full points, 2, 4, 6, 8 for that tile. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 like that. I took that one, so these 2 get some tokens on them. Like that and like that. Slides down like this. Now, I do need to pick up some industry if I want to start scoring some sets. Because I have 2 houses now, I have 3 parks, and I have 1 commercial. So I need at least 1 more commercial and 2 industry to start building on those sets. And I really need to start building up City Hall soon, before it gets late in the game. We are in round 6 now. It means the AI is going to go twice. So they roll a 5. They don't have any incomplete buildings in 5, but they do have 1. So they're going down to the bottom 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. And I will place that adjacent to that one for 1 point, because that's what it says on the board. For them, they place out their thing, and they're going to put out 2 steel and a glass on that one. Like that and like that. Good. And they take a second turn, but this should get refreshed first. They roll a 3, which is nothing of theirs yet. So they're going to take 1, 2, 3. This one right here, placing towards the center. I'm going to put them there. And 2 glass and 1 concrete can go out. Like that. And like that. Put their piece there. Like that. These slide down. My turn. And this comes out, we roll. Like this. Pink on his head, gray on his head. The other 4 need a reroll. Brown on his head. I don't like it. I'm pushing my luck. And I failed. Good news is a fail means round down, so I only get rid of 1 and I get a wild. I'm going to get rid of the gray because I don't have any right now and take 1 wild token. So I get 1 wood and 2 purchase power. I'm going to use that 2 purchase power to yeah, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to take that for 1. It's industry. I don't have anything I can do with industry. But I'll place it over here like that, which gets me 2 more wilds. I'm going to put a wood out here on the Big Sky high rise. How many do I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wilds. Mark that as mine. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've only got 6 pieces. I'm actually going to spend 3 of those. Sorry, I should have advanced that. 3 of those to get 3 concrete. So I can fill in this oil refinery over here, like this. Because now I'll get one more architect or one more glass earning meeple for the next round, like that. These slide down over here. AI again goes twice. Rolls a 5 the first time, means they're finishing this one with 1 piece of glass. And that has 4 resources, so they score 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. They take their second turn as a 3. 3 again, they're finishing that building with 1 piece of concrete. Gets them 1, 2, 3, 4 points again. 1, 2, 3, 4 points again. That moves up 1 round. And I roll my meeples. I got a glass on his head, a glass on his head. A wood on his side, a concrete standing up. I could push my luck, but I don't really want to. So I'm going to get 2 glass, a wood, and 2 concrete. And we'll figure out how best to use it. Now I could put 2 glass there, but I'd really love to put something there before I did it. But that's not really super important because it would give me a purple that's going to give me either income or double blues. But double blues only works if I can finish this, and I'm not close to doing that yet. I really need to start making more wood, and that's not happening right now. But let's see, I could use another construction site, but I don't need gold, that's just points. I could use another industry, which would get me more steel. I don't have any steel yet, but that would be nice to have. Yeah. All right. Then that gives me an extra nothing though. Oh, that's fine. Okay. Then I'm going to spend 1 steel to take this tile, placing it here. The other concrete, sorry, that was a concrete. Place the other concrete there with 2 glass on as well. Like that. My last wood is just going to go there. That's the end of my turn. I did take from the 3rd slot, so those both get wilds. That slides down. And I want 1 more commercial. Because I have 3 gardens, 2 homes, 2 industry, no, 2 industry, and 1 commercial. So I've got 1 set, could have a second set if I get another commercial building. Yes. Okay, then AI again goes twice. Rolling a 1. Perfect. They're going to finish that with a single concrete like this, which gets them 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4 points. And again, a 5. 5's getting crowded. They're going to come here with 2, 4, 6. This one goes there, and we'll score them 2 points for placing there. 1, 2, and they're going to place out 3 glass on that building. Like that. And mark it as theirs. That's scary because that's a 6 height blue. All right, then moving to round 9. Hold on, before we do that, we're going to place out more stuff here and here. Ooh, the police station's nice. That's another one of those industry building. Could place that there, in fact. But they don't, sorry, they don't, not industries, but landmarks, they don't score off each other. So that wouldn't be smart. Somewhere out here or something, we'll see. I kind of like to spread down here, potentially. All right, then, my turn. I would like lots of stuff, please. All right, we got a wood on his head, a glass on their head, the concrete on their head, a glass on their head. Lots of glass. No, there's 2 if I roll and fail. But if I don't, it's worth it. Yeah, I gotta push. Come on. Yes, all right, so we get a 2 purchase as well. All right, so I get 1 wood, 1 concrete, and 2 glass. Plus I get double purchase something. And I'd really like a commercial something. With just 2 purchase doesn't get me anything all that lovely. That takes 6 to place there. That's everything. I don't want to do that this turn. Yeah, I'm going to finish this, which gets me 3 points and a blue. 1, 2, 3, and a blue. Or a riveter, steel guy. And start placing glass in City Hall. I place glass down here in the Iron Grove Gardens. Well, we're getting blue, so to have that would be nice. So I get 2 4 points for that. 1, 2, 3, 4 points for that. And a purple meeple. A public figure. That's these clear purple meeples like that. I still have the 2 to spend, and I still have 1 wood. I'm tempted to just take another trees, because it's got a bunch of stuff on it. You know what? This is commercial. And this scores off commercial. All right, there's my 2. I placed this. That takes 1. That takes another 1 for 2. Gets me another wild and 1 more point, right? That's a 1. No, that's a 2. Another 1 more point. I'll place a brown here. Whoops. Like that. How many meeples I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. Is it worth it? I don't know, but I'm spending 2 more wilds to place out 2 more wood right here, which gets me 3 more points and another riveter. And I do own this guy up here like that. They get out of the way. AI again rolls twice. 6. They don't have anything in 6. Ah, this hurts because the center is right next to that monster. Hold on, let me refill this real quick. This is going to be a big turn for them. Ouch. They take this 6 right here. I just realized that I've been scoring them on things that don't match. Let me recheck. That was a nothing. That was a nothing. That was a nothing. That was a 4, but not for industry. This is industry. I got to undo that. And I'll make a comment or a subtitle later. 1, 2, 3, 4 when I score. This is 2 for houses. Again, that's not a house. 1, 2. 1 for a house or forest. That's not. Yeah, I've been giving them lots of points they shouldn't have had. 2 for a house, that's not. 1, 2. All right, then. That was my mistake. This is also not a house forest, or that is commercial. All right, so they are scoring that one for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Found my mistake. This goes out. They're placing out 3. Let's place out glass. Looks like there's more of it than concrete. 3, no. 2 glass and 1 concrete. We'll leave that 2 concrete open like that. Those slide down and they refill those first 2 spots with wilds. And I roll again, I think. If I messed up, you'll find out later in editing. 3 means here, that's full. We're going to place it in one of those spots, this one right here. I'll place it up here so it doesn't block my expansion. They get another wild. That's theirs. They place out 3 glass like that. This fills back in like that. And now I've got, if I counted right, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Means I can use all of these. Gray on its side, brown on its side. Glass standing up, pink on his side, gray on his side. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 left. I'll lose 2 if I roll this. I need to. That's too much wasted goodness. Come on, guys. All right, we got a purple standing. I got a gray on his side. I got a blue standing. Awesome. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Because the standing purple from this building lets me double my blues. I got 2, so I get 4 steel. I get 1, 2, 3 glass. I get 2 concrete. I get 1 wood. And I got 1 purchase power 2. I wouldn't mind a house or a park or a thing that goes there. More glass? No, we don't really need it. Yeah, all right. Let's start filling some things in. What does this need? That's not mine. This needs lots of stuff. This needs a little bit less stuff, but I'm gonna start filling in that big one because I have lots of stuff to work towards it. 1, 2, and 1 goes there. 1, 2, 3, 4. I need 6 blues, but we'll put 4 there for right now. Like that. It gives me 2 purchase and 3 left resources. What's that? 2 and 3 for a gold and 2 points. This is cool, but I don't score off of anything but other gardens or parks, and I don't have any near me. I just don't want him to get that. And I could get 4 points for it. But then it won't score anything else. No. I need 3s, so I need another house, I need another industry, and I need another commercial. So basically I'm looking here. This row. Yeah, I might as well go for this one. So spending 1, I still have 1 left, so that's 2. And then I'll spend a gray is 3 to place that there for 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, and again, this is round 10. Got a wild. This gray is not gonna do anything for me. Ah, it is. I'll place that up here at Hungry Sal's. Then this brown can start there. That's my turn. Filling this up like that. Yeah, I'm still going twice. A 2. We're going to finish this building with 1 concrete. Scoring 2 and 2 equals 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. And again, a 3 means they need to complete that with 2 more glass. The police station is built over there. That's 3, 4, 5 points for them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points for them. That's the turn. I go again. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Gray on the side, pink on the side, blue on the side, brown standing up, blue on the side, glass standing up, and brown standing up. We'll stop there for sure. So that's 4 wood. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 concrete. My pink is purchase. All right, so that's 2 steel, 2 glass, and purchase power of 2. I need another commercial and another industrial. And since I can see the commercial scores there, I might want to put an industrial here. I like this one. That's not bad at all. So that cost me this +1. Yeah, I might as well trash that. No. Yeah, trash that gray plus those 2 pink to take this auto factory, putting it there. I own that. I'm going to use my 4 wood, whoops, don't put them away, to finish here. So there's a second on that. And then 3 here to fill and finish the Junebug Tower, which gets me 2 points, 1, 2, and a yellow, a politician meeple. I'm sorry, this is round 11. I do keep forgetting to advance, but not for long forgetting. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I'll finish that tower just so I remember. 5, 6 like that. And yeah, whatever. I'm not doing anything else at the moment. I will place 2 glass right there like that. All right, those slide over. This fills in. I place out more wilds here and here. That's getting a little bit scary. Let's hope he doesn't roll a 1 or a 2. He's rolling twice. Whoops, there's my 2. So he does take that. Ouch. And 2 we'll place here like that, which automatically finishes because it's only taking 2 glass. So he's going to score 2 points off of that one. Like that. 1, 2. Second turn, a 6. There's no space in 6. Oh, sorry, they didn't finish yet. So yes, they're going to place here. So they're going to place out 2 concrete to finish the barbershop right there. That gets capped, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. 2, 3, 4, 5 points. We move into round 12. Now this is where they're going to start taking 3 turns. So I got to start finishing stuff up. Brown standing. Blue standing. Glass on his head. Hold on a minute. I have too many meeples. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I'm going to say that. I don't care about glass so much. Gray on his head. Blue on his side. Pink standing up. That's big. Brown standing up. That's it. All right. Then I get 4 wood. I get 3 steel. 1 glass and 1 concrete. And 3 steel I'm going to place out instantly because that's going to finish that big building, which is amazing. That 3 goes there. That gets capped. I don't want to knock it down like that. I get 13 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 like that. And I'm going to put a wild token with my guy just so I remember that I've gone around the track once. And from that I get another magenta executive and a green public servant like that. Now this pink guy gets me a purchase power of 4. Sorry, I forgot to fill this in after they bought last time. Purchase power of 4 is big. I'm done my big building. I need another commercial. Let's find something nice and strong commercial. That's nice. Problem is I got all this wood to spend and I don't have anything to put it on. I need to stop rolling wood because this 4 wood is kind of useless. But that's okay. I'm going to do that. I'm going to spend this pink for 4 to pick up this stadium. I don't know we're going to finish it though. 3, 6, 9, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. All right, I'm going to take this stadium, put it there. It does match. I need to spend 2 resources for that. I'll get rid of 2 wood. And I get 3 points for building that. 1, 2, 3, like that. And then I got 2 wood that's useless. I got a glass and a concrete that I can place all kinds of places. I'm going to place those over here. 1 glass there, 1 concrete there, like that. And we're going to stop rolling wood from now on because I don't need it. Those 2, unfortunately, are wasted. And we'll stop there. Okay, so we fill in here, which means we do place these out again. 1 and 2. That's a cocked die. 3. They don't have anything at 3. They're going to take this one right here and they're going to play it up here like this. Instantly placing out 2 on there and capping for 2 points. 1, 2. That's their first turn. They're taking 3, so they got 2 left. 3 again. These all slide down. They refill here. 3 again means this guy, which is huge if they finish it, goes right there and he'll place out 3 blue. Like that. And mark that as his. Problem is 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 is what they have left. If they roll a 3 again, that gets finished, and that's giant. 6. 6 doesn't work. 4. 4 just gets finished, so they're going to place out 1 concrete. Like that. To cap that, to get 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4 points. Next turn, round 13. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Well, we don't need any wood. And I don't need double purchase power. These slide down like this, filling in those guys there. And let's see what we get. 1 gray, blue on its side. Blue on its side, purple standing up. Ooh, green standing up. Glasses are laying down. Gray is on his side. Pink is on his side. All right. Then let's start with green because we can do double something. 2 upgrades. I need lots of glass and lots of blues. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to use this green to upgrade both of these blue guys to full strength. Because using them with this purple lets me double my blue. That's 8 blue that I get from that. There, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I get 2 concrete, and I get a purchase power of 2. Right now, I don't think I care. Ah, but I could. Okay. Yeah, I think I do. Okay, so I'm actually going to spend this magenta to pick up this park. Gets me some wilds. That's 1, and I get to spend 1 more to place that there to get 2 points. 1, 2, like that. And this one should be mine. And that now is also mine. Then I got a bunch of stuff to spend. Didn't get any glass this time, so I can't finish that one, but I will finish this one, which gets me 1 concrete and 2 blue. Caps that, gets me 3 points. 1, 2, 3 points. And a light pink one, or a city planner. Throw that in there. And then we're just going to put the rest of our stuff over on Gray's Stadium. That scores me lots of points if I can get it before the end of the game. That was silly. Let me put the concrete there first, like that. It's kind of annoying that I placed this all the way out here because all my tall stuff is here, but it is what it is. And am I going to finish? What does that need? No, that needs 2 more resources. We'll wait 1 more round on that. Okay. Then we slide all of these in. Like that. AI goes 3 times. First time is a 6, which doesn't mean anything. A 2. They don't have anything in 2. 1, 2 gets them this one. And we'll place up here. And place out 3 more blue, like that. Placing out their marker on that spot. 2 more turns. A 4. They don't have anything in 4, so slide these again. Like this. 4 gets them this one. They will place it here, like that. Which is 2 blue and a gray, which will score that one. For 3 points. 1, 2, 3, like that. And their third turn of the round is a 3, which means, ouch, they're going to finish that huge one, and double ouch. Yeah, we're in trouble. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Because they've just taken the tallest slot in that neighborhood, unfortunately. And 4 glass. The problem is, I need to get 6 blue in the next 2 rounds, or I don't finish that building, because we're just about out of blue. And they're scoring 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 points on that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 points. And I'll cap them as well, like that. That's their turn. These slide down. Yeah, that, ouch. Alrighty, because this is a whole lot of ouch too. This moves up to where I am, around 14. I've got in here 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. I need to get rid of 1 something and potentially add back wood, because I need 1 for here. Although that scores for houses, and I don't have any houses around it, so I don't really care about that. I already have 3 parks anyway. So what do I not need? I don't really need purchase power. I don't really need a ton of glass either. Yeah, let me get rid of 1 glass. All right, we got pink standing up. We got gray on its side. We got gray standing up. We got green on his side. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's not half. Awesome. Perfect. I got a blue standing up. No, blue on his head, glass on its head. If I take a blue now, it's end. But yeah, I'm going to use the half green to upgrade my blue. I get 3 concrete. I get 2 blue, which means I get this blue. And remember I mentioned those wilds before. Now that we're out of blue, I'm going to use a wild for that. But that is blue. I get 1 glass, and I get a 4 purchase power. We are going to put those 3 like that here. Sorry, 2. 1 glass will go here like that. Then I have 3 gray left. Perfect. 2 gray goes, no, that's all 3 goes there. But I'm going to cap off this one first. Which one is it? There. For 2. This is finished. Gets me 3 points and 1 yellow guy. 1, 2, 3 points. And a yellow maple. And this gray goes in here. So that will trigger the end of the game, but we're both going to get, well, the AI is going to get 2 turns. I'm going to get 1 more turn. I really want to finish that building. I still have a 4 purchase power, though. So, yeah, it's not meaningful, but I'm going to spend that for 4 to buy this for 1 and place it here for 3, which gets me 6 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points is my house. AI's turn. Oops, those slide down. Yeah, it goes 3 times again. Place is right there. Oops, I missed, but that's a 3. 3, they got nothing, means they get this one, they'll place here. Like that. And then they'll place out 3 blue. We don't have blue, so we're using orange, but it is blue for the fire station. And mark that as theirs. Second turn, 6, nothing, that doesn't count. 4, there's nothing in 4. So these all slide down again. They take this electric. They'll place it, I don't care, over here. That one does score instantly. 2 blue and 1 concrete. For 3 points. 1, 2, 3. Right there at 14. And their last turn for this round, a 2. 2 means they're finishing that for 2 glass. Like that. Which gets them 3, 4, 5 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. Slide everything down. I get my final turn of the game. Sorry for the camera bump just then. All right, I need to make sure that I get at least 3 blue, 2 concrete, and 2 glass. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 wilds that I can spend if I need to. Otherwise, we'll see what happens. Oh, I still had a concrete from last time? I don't know what that is. I think I still had a concrete left from last time that I forgot to place out. I'm gonna assume I spent that, and if not, I'll fix that later. All right, then. I don't care about purchase power this turn. I'd rather have glass safety. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11. I need to get rid of 1 more thing. Double blue when I need 3 is not super important, but it could be helpful. Huh. Do I need lots of concrete? No, but I need to be safe. Yeah. What do I need less of? Yeah, you know what? I'm going to get rid of 1 point thing. I don't know that I'm going to roll both point guys. Anyway, we've got a blue on his side, a glass standing up, a gray on its side, a purple on its side. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can roll again for free. Pink on their side, a gray on this side, a yellow on this side, a blue standing up. We stop there. All right, I got 3 blues. which are going to be orange, but they're blue. I need a fourth, but that's fine. We can make it happen. Those three go in here like that. So I need 2 concrete and a blue in there. I get 1 concrete from this, which is going to slide in there. Like that. Then I get 1 point from that yellow. Sorry, this is round 15. 1 point from that yellow one. Sorry, I had a pink on his side, which means that blue and that yellow and that concrete. Oh, I have another concrete on his side over there. Okay, anyway, those guys come off. I get to re-roll these for free by spending that pink. And that didn't do anything anyway. Okay, then I get 2 glass, which is perfect because that's what I need right here. Like that. And I do still have 1 concrete there. So that gets placed. Let me move those. All right, so that's fixed. That gets capped off. I score 6 points plus 1 for every meeple that I have, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 meeples. 15 meeples plus 6 is 21 points. So 24 gets me 34, 44, and 1 is 45. Cool. Yes, then this purple on its side does nothing because it gets me 1 purchase power, but 1 purchase power means nothing right now because I can't do anything with it as the end of the game or last turn of the game. I do have 4 of these, which means I could complete that or that, but right now that doesn't mean anything. Yeah, so I'm going to hold those as extra points, and that's the end of my game. AI takes their last turn, which is 3 turns. 6 is nothing, doesn't count. 2. They don't have anything out at 2, so they're going to take this one and place it there. But lucky for me, they don't complete it because they don't have enough resources on the first placement is 3. But that's theirs. They roll again. 6 doesn't count. 5. 5 means they're completing this one right here for 6 points. Which means they got it super tall in this middle section too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Plus 3 is 9 points for them for that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 points for that one. And their last turn of the game, a 1 gets them this building because these would have slid down like that. They don't have enough resources to complete that, so I'll just place out 3 glass for completion's sake. And I just knocked that one over, but that's okay. That goes there. Let me fix this, and we'll get into scoring. All right, so like that, we are finished the game. Now we go into scoring. We'll start with the extra points. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 from that. 1, 2, 3, 4. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, going from 28 to 38 like that. Next we score, let's start with my focus so we can save the ads for our final thing. I can score magenta and green, which is 3, or pink and yellow, which is also 3, so either way it doesn't matter. I score 6 points off of that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'll place a second wild on me to keep track of that. Now we go into ads. 5 points per completed set of all 4. So I've got 3 parks. I've got 1, 2, hold on a minute. Ah, yeah, here's a house. 1, 2, 3 houses. 1, 2, 3 industry. And then 1, where are they? 1, 2, 3 commercial. So I get 15 points for that. Means 5 and 15 gets me to 20. The AI, let's see. Parks, they have 1 park there. Yeah, green only, 2 parks. 2 parks there. So 2 parks is good. 2 commercial, let's see, there's 1 completed commercial, there's 1. So they have 2 commercial. I don't think they have any, no, they don't have any residential, any houses, so they don't score anything for that. Good. Then we have to look at every completed landmark building, and they're going to score 2 points for every residential, industry, and commercial next to it. Here's a landmark next to a park, doesn't count. Here's a landmark next to a industry, they score 2 points. 1, 2. Here's a landmark, I just knocked my tower over. Here's a landmark next to industry, commercial, and a landmark. So they get 4 points for that. 1, 2, 3, 4 points for that. I'm not going to clean up my mess, that's fine. Then, here's my landmark next to commercial. I get 2 points for that. Landmarks, 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 nothing there. Here, next to a park, doesn't count. And that's all of them. And then finally, we score 4 points per neighborhood with you have the tallest building. Clearly, they have the tallest building in number 3. So they get 1, 2, 3, 4 for that. In group 6, I have the tallest building right here with 3. So I get 4 points for that. 1, 2, 3, 4. In neighborhood 5, they get it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. In neighborhood 2, they get it with this 3 right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. They should have a second chip. Neighborhood 1 is them again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And neighborhood 4, them again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that is it for scoring. We finished with a score of 126 for us and 114 for the AI. Pretty close score, but we did manage to win the game. So, yay, good for us. All right, while we're here, let's take a look at the components. Most of the components are already out here on the screen. The tiles, you didn't get a chance to see a lot of them close up. The artwork on the tiles is serviceable. It's clear what they represent. I do like that it looks like a sort of raster drawing a landscape architect might draw. There is a little bit of a sort of lack of variability. I mean, the artwork is there. Each picture is different when it's a different thing. But at quick glance, everything looks very, very similar to each other. Now, that said, that's kind of also intentional, so you can see that the purple is the industry and the light green is the residential and the dark green is the parks and the brownish is sort of the landmarks and this blue is the commercial. So the color really does help, but it would have been nice to see a little bit more variability in the way that they look. That said, if you look real closely, there is quite a bit of variability in there. And they are given a very small space to do that, so I can't really nitpick. I just think it does come across as a little bit bland, but it also does come across as very thematic, and it does work, so I can't really complain about that. These are very nice, thick, chunky tiles, so there's that. The cubes, they do stack very nicely. They do work very nicely, but as you've seen a couple times here now, they're a little bit loose, and when you do have really big towers, as you start reaching across the table, it's very often that I'm knocking over 1 or 2 of those as I play. Not a huge problem with me, but it does cause a small bit of problem as I play. That said, really, really nice design of componentry. I just wish they'd click together a little bit more so it wasn't so easy to just swat them down. Or potentially have scored the card a little bit so that the bottom one fits in rather than falling, but I understand that would be really expensive to do with all of these, tons and tons of tiles in the game. This die, I don't know why it just popped into my head, but I was cleaning things and moving things out of the way. This die doesn't come with the game. That's one small complaint from me. The solo mode requires a die, and the game doesn't come with one. That's a little bit disappointing because it's just a standard die, but there it is. It's in the game now because I put it there. The meeples are sort of a Bakelite plastic. They feel real nice when you're rolling them. But I'm always a fan of wood over plastic. I don't know if that would have changed things here because the smooth edges might help them roll or stand or whatever else it is. The sharper edges of a wooden meeple might change the sort of variability or the probabilities of them standing on different sides and so on. I don't know, but again, they do feel really nice and real chunky, and they click real nicely when you're rolling them. So I do like that. The score tracker, these things confuse me a little bit. They're nice and big and chunky, and I like them. The colors pop. I like that. They fill the spaces. They go around the track very nicely. But you saw me go around the track 2 complete times in this game. And there's no real way for me to mark that I've gone around the track more than once. This is a 6-sided cube. It would have been very easy to write a 50 on one side and 100 on another side. So when I got to that spot, I just flipped it to the side that says the plus whatever, and it would continue keeping track of my score really easily. I think that was a missed opportunity here. The boxes here. I'll talk more about them in a minute when I talk about the insert of the game, but the lid and the base fit together, obviously, because it's a box and can be used for storage. But what that means is during gameplay, and I don't know if this matters, but 2 of the boxes are bigger than the other 2 boxes because 2 of them are lids and 2 of them are bases. Does that change the probability of a roll or how things roll? I don't know. But if there are supposed to be components that are the same for everybody, that might be a small complaint that could be had. The other thing I should talk about is just the fact that it's so sprawling. Yes, it looks nice. Yes, it builds out well, but this game takes up a lot of space. I just barely managed to squeeze it on camera, and I'm still not sure exactly how much detail you're getting in here. That's a little bit of a problem. They don't really need this much space. All of these empty spaces in between the tiles is sort of wasted real estate. There's lots of beautiful, beautiful artwork on here, but there's lots of open holes in here. This probably could have been shrunk down a little bit more, especially since you are going around it so often. It doesn't quite need to be so big. I think the whole footprint of this could have been shrunk about 3/4 of the size and still looked really, really nice and still played very, very smoothly. But again, that's a complaint that some might not have because there's a lot of space on the table. But some people who have smaller tables might have problems with that. So overall, I do really enjoy the look of this game. I do enjoy the feel of a lot of components, but there are a bunch of little nitpicks that I have here and there about everything here. Now, the last thing I do like to take a look at when I review a game is the insert or the organizer for the box. And well, for this game, that's it. Here it is. It is a big old empty box, and that's gonna be a big problem because I've got what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different resources, a ton of meeples, all of these tiles, all of these boards, all of these pieces, all of these add pieces, all of these target tiles, all of this stuff, and there's nowhere to put it except in bags. So I've got, well, I take that back a little bit. You've got 2 boxes like this. And those 2 boxes hold the level 1 and level 2 tiles perfectly. And I think that's a great start. But the rest of the box is just an empty box that all of these tiles stack up in with the board on top. And then everything else just gets thrown in there in bags. And every time you want to clean up, you got to rebag everything. And every time you want to set up, you got to unbag everything. And it just takes so much more time to set up and clean up because of that. This game is begging for a good insert, a good organizer. I've seen some online. I would love to have one for this game because this just makes me really sad that there's nothing in this box. It needs something. But if you're not that big a complainer, if you are a bagger, this is good. If you're somebody who likes to design your own foam board inserts, this is right up your alley. I'm just a little bit sad that how much more time it takes to set up and put away because there's nothing in the box and you got to just throw everything in bags. I hate to leave it there because there is a lot of good here on the table, but let's head up top and I'll let you know what I think about the gameplay and the mechanisms themselves. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the playthrough. So let's get into my thoughts on this game and on the solo mode for this game. First things first, there are sort of two, I don't want to say gimmicky, but kind of gimmicky mechanisms in this game, and that's sort of what's going to make this game stand out over other games in the same sort of city building genre. So I'm going to start by taking a look at those two things, and that is the rolling of the meeples and the sort of building of the buildings using those physical towers or physical blocks to build the towers in the game. And both of these things are kind of a mixed opinion for me. And let's start with the building towers, because that's sort of the least important thing to the game. That really is just a sort of prettiness factor or a fanciness componentry factor of the game. And as you saw when I talked about the components, those towers do often get knocked over as you're reaching across the board. Now, it's not as bad as some people on the internet have said before. I've read a lot of things saying, wow, they fall down all the time, and that's not really true. They don't really fall down on their own. But when you do start building those taller towers as you reach across the table, they do fall down. And it does look pretty on the board, but does it add much to the game? I don't really know. That's sort of up to you whether or not you think that's a good thing or a bad thing. So let's put that to the side and focus more on the main meat of the game that does sort of make this stand out as its own unique thing, and that is the rolling of the meeples. And honestly, I don't know how I feel about this, because I don't ever really feel like I have much control. And granted, that's the point, right? If I'm rolling dice, I don't have much control. But I feel that when I roll a die, that die is rolling and it's going to land on a side. And it's always going to land on a side. And each of those sides, if the die is made correctly, should be balanced so that it has an equal chance of rolling on any of those sides. With a meeple, I don't believe that to be true. Clearly, the laying down meeple is going to be the most common thing. And then I don't know whether standing on its feet or standing on any other side is going to be more common or less common. I guess, though, if it can stand on any side except from its feet, that it should be more common than just standing on its feet. So I guess there's that. But realistically, most likely, most often, it's going to be laying flat down like this. And that's a problem for me, because that means that the majority of the time things are going to be laying down flat. Now, the nice thing is, it does have the mechanism in the game that if more than half of your meeples are still laying flat, you get to re-roll and re-roll and re-roll. So you'll always have at least half of the meeples that you're rolling come out. So I guess if you make sure you have enough stuff, that shouldn't matter so much, because you'll always have at least half of whatever you're rolling. And then you can always push your luck one more time and get lucky, which would be nice, except that if you don't get lucky, then you get half of what you rolled, plus one wild token. And that's actually, I shouldn't push that to the side, because that one wild token is pretty powerful. Because one of anything in this game could be the make it or break it point of whether or not you get a specific building built on any given turn in the game. So that's actually a pretty big thing. And if you start paying attention to it, here I am slowly convincing myself that this mechanism is better than I originally thought. But if you think about it carefully, when to push your luck and when not to push your luck, if you're only losing one or two things and keeping more stuff and getting one token in return, that's not as risky as it might seem at first. But it still does feel to me often that I'm fighting against the game to get the stuff that I need in order to play stuff out. So it is interesting. It's fun because it's unique, but it also feels like it's a bit extra random, and it's a bit extra random against me rather than for me. So it feels a little bit meh. And then there's the push your luck piece. There are certain games where I enjoy push your luck because thematically it works and it means something and that tension is important and so on. In this game, that's not the case, because this is not a kind of tense adventure, emotional kind of experience. This is a sort of Euro-style building kind of game with a bit of extra randomness thrown in there. And what that means is rather than saying I push my luck and get lucky and get, the emotional excitement when I get what I get when I push my luck, and if it works out, yay. Realistically, what that means in this game is I just don't do it. And that means that basically I'm getting half of whatever I roll every time. Or if I get lucky, a little bit more than half of what I rolled every time. So yes, there's an interesting mechanism there, and if you are more of a risk taker than I am, this might work better for you than it does for me, but ultimately it feels kind of like I'm not really rolling all of these things, I'm really rolling half of these things, and which colors those things become comes out based on how I roll and what I'm rolling. Which I guess is kind of similar to if I rolled half as many dice and the faces of the die tell me which color meeple and which resources I get, and I can sort of make those dice to make the colors that I want them to be. And if I think about it that way, it does make it a little bit less negative than I feel, but ultimately the feeling is the important thing, and when I play this game, the rolling doesn't feel as great as I want it to. That said, I did hear on another review, I believe it was No Pun Included, they suggested that instead of rolling the meeples and just dropping them into the box, that you roll them in such a way that they hit the side of the box and then they land. And I did notice that when I rolled them that way, and that's what I was doing in this playthrough as much as possible, is rolling them against the side of the box, they were standing up a bit more than they had been when I dropped them in. So that might be a pointer that if you're playing this game, try it out by rolling the meeples against the side of the box rather than dropping them into the box. And you might get a little bit more pop-up as they hit the walls. So that said, leaving that meeple rolling aside for a second, let's talk about the rest of the mechanisms of the game. Because if the rest of the game is a really, really interesting game, then the slight negative of the rolling of the meeples or the results of the rolling of the meeples should affect me less as far as my overall feeling or thoughts on this game. And unfortunately, I can't say that that's the case. Now, I'm not saying that it's bad. I enjoy everything in this game. I am a fan of city builders. I am a fan of spatial puzzlers. There's a lot of good going on in here. But there's nothing that's sort of grabbing me and pulling me and saying this is a game that you must keep playing. But let's talk about those mechanisms. First off, once you've rolled the meeples, you're getting the sort of resources. Some of the meeples will give you extra things like standing up meeples or extra points at the end. But ultimately, you're getting resources and using those resources to buy a building every round, to place out on a map, and then later on using resources to build up the buildings. And this is a fun and interesting sort of set of mechanisms. The market is interesting in that depending on which place you buy from, you have to spend a different amount of resources. But then also if you spend more resources on a specific turn, on a following turn, you're going to be able to buy a lower resource cost building and get lots of those wild tokens. And what I mean by that is every time I build something that's higher than the bottom two slots, we're adding those wild tokens. And that does make things a little bit more interesting because I am focusing on specific buildings based on the goals, the ad goals, and my personal target goals every game. So the focus that I'm looking at is changing every game. And also, it might be that sometimes if I'm focused on lots of those higher cost things and building up and building up and building up wilds, as you saw in this game that I just played right now, I might end up buying one of those lower cost things just to get a big stack of wild stuff so I can spend those to sort of build the giant buildings that are on some of those level 2 tiles. And that really does feel like an interesting balance of when do I focus on the things that I specifically need and when do I focus on things that sort of connect into the other things that I need and might score off of things that I've already been placing out on the map. And also focusing on, as I extend across the map, some of those locations have specific scoring goals based on specific buildings or specific building types that get placed on those locations. So then your sort of strategy or your tactical thinking is changing as you expand across the map because there might be different kinds of tiles that you might want. So it might be that you start buying some of these slightly more expensive tiles, stretching out across the map until you get to a point where those lower tiles that you had been skipping now make sense to place out. Plus, because you've been buying the higher level stuff, you're building up those wilds on there to place out. Get all those wilds, score based on the placement, and there are these really cool chains that you can build. Plus, as you're building things, you're unlocking more stuff. You're getting more meeples that you can roll to get more stuff in the future. You're scoring points, but also some of the buildings, when you activate them, are scoring based on adjacency to other buildings. So you have to be thinking about, how do I get as many meeples as I need to get the stuff that I need moving forward in the game? Because if I'm only rolling 3 meeples, I'm going to get a whole lot less stuff than if I'm rolling all of my meeples, or all 10 possible meeples on a single turn. But at the same time, I should start thinking about surrounding tiles with other tiles so that later on, when I activate something, I score as many points as possible by the stuff that it's touching. And then you also have to start thinking about resources, because if I find myself with a lot of a specific resource and I don't have any buildings that use that resource to build, and I've already made my purchase that round, now I've got a bunch of wasted stuff that just gets thrown away at the end of the turn, and that's not good either. So there is quite a bit of interesting sort of decision making to be made over which buildings you're focusing on based on points, based on what it's going to get you later, based on using the resources that you're already getting, and then based on timing of when all of this stuff happens and how it interacts with the other things, plus keeping in mind your end game goals that you're scoring on. And this sort of balance of puzzle for me is quite a bit of fun. I do really, really enjoy that piece of the game. So there's a lot to be had here. There's a lot of fun in this game, but ultimately there's nothing that's sort of jumping out at me and saying, this is amazing, I must play it all the time. And again, that slightly negative feeling I get from rolling the meeples and the amount of time it takes to set up the game and put away the game and to build all of those little buildings, while they look really cool, it does take extra sort of fiddly game time to do all of that. And that balance makes the game a little bit less exciting for me. And let's talk about the solo mode, because ultimately this is a solo channel. I did play this game solo exclusively. And let's talk about that AI. The AI is based on 6 different districts that you're building in. You roll a die every turn, and that's telling you where the AI is placing. So it is going to be very random. And when I say it is going to be very random, there's different levels of randomness, because it's going to depend on sort of the layout of the maps. Where are those high scoring locations that they're going to be able to build on? Are they all close together? Are they spread out? Is it such that when they place out, they're likely to start in the center right next to one of those high scoring locations, and they happen to be placing out the right building, they're going to score lots of points by doing so, right? That's one level of randomness. Then, do they keep rolling the same district? Because if they keep rolling the same district, they're going to be placing lots of buildings there, and more importantly, completing lots of buildings there, and every time they complete a building, they score a lot. Versus if they spread out, they're going to have lots of incomplete buildings, slowly building in all of the different sectors, they might score less. Then, based on the roll, determines which building they're going to be sort of drafting onto the board. It is interesting, and it is well designed that they start with only one level 1 and then instantly go to level 2 if they continue to build in the same district, because the level 2 buildings will have more pieces on them, and again, more pieces will make them score more. But depending on which building they draft, that could be the difference between like a 5-point building and like a 20-point or 30-point building. If they build one of those huge buildings, they're going to score a lot of points. And this does matter because, again, the first time they place that tile down, they're only placing 3 resources. So if it's really small, they're going to score and they'll get a chance to do it again next turn. But if it's not really small, that means they're not going to finish it with 3 resources. Well, on their next turn, they're going to place 12 resources. And aside from the hugest of huge buildings, that 12 resources will immediately score that building almost definitely. Except for, like I said, a few, in which case the following turn, the next time they go their way, will definitely be finishing that building. And what that means is, if it's a 4-piece building, or if it's a 15-piece building, both of those will take 2 turns to finish. And if I'm using 2 turns of the AI's turn to score 4 points, I'm okay with that. But if I'm using the AI's 2 turns to score 15 points, I'm not so okay with that. Which means that it's very much luck of the random roll of the die to determine whether the AI is scoring 4 or scoring 15 on any given turn. Plus, based on that same roll of the die, whichever tile they're drafting is also going to determine when they place it out on the board, do they get bonus points? Because they're not selecting the specific tile that matches the place that they're placing. They're taking a random tile, and if it happens to match, then they score points on that space. And again, random and random and random and more random. Does it feel bad? No, because it's still competing against me. They're still scoring points. I still have to be careful to place their stuff or to sort of allow them to place their stuff in certain ways so that they don't hit those end game scoring goals or that I'm beating them at the end game scoring goals. I also have to pay attention to mitigating some of this randomness. I said there's a lot of randomness, but remember, I'm also drafting these tiles. So if I see a huge point building out there, even if I can't score it, it might be good for me to draft that so that they can't draft it on a later turn. And then that might give me something to think about what I'm buying later and how I'm building things later, and maybe I can score points on that really big building. So there is mitigation there. Again, randomly, if they keep placing 5s and 6s, they're going to be adding lots of wild tiles to the board. And those wild tiles could help me if I get them, but could also help them if they get them later in a later round. There's some randomness again, because if they roll lots of 5 and 6s and then they roll a 1 or a 2, then they're going to get that, right? But if they don't, then they don't. And then, yeah, 6 of one, half dozen of the other. But at the same time, again, here's that mitigation. If I see a big stack of wilds growing, even if I don't want that tile, I better get it out of there because each of those tokens is worth 1 point for the AI at the end of the game. So there is a whole lot of randomness in the AI's turns, but there's also quite a bit of thought and mitigation you can do to keep them from placing the things in the places that they're going to be placing them, or taking the tiles that they're going to be randomly taking if you let them take those tiles. So it's not completely random. It's not a mess. There's definitely thought going into this design. There's just quite a bit of randomness that you do need to understand going into this as a solo game that you might not get as a multiplayer game. And if that bothers you, that is something to think about. Does it bother me? Ultimately, again, this is kind of a mixed feeling for me. I enjoy every play of this game that I've played. However, it takes time to set up. It takes time to put away. It lasts a little bit longer than I'd like it to last for the kind of game that it is. And ultimately, nothing jumps out at me that says, this is the most amazing game you've ever played. So ultimately, does it come down off the shelf? I don't know if it will continue coming down off the shelf, but it is the kind of game that if somebody said, hey, would you like to play this multiplayer? I'd almost definitely say yes, because I do enjoy the experience. It is fun, it is quirky, it is interesting, it looks pretty with the buildings built. There's a lot of good to be had in here. The puzzle of when to build and how to interact things with each other is fun. There's quite a bit of variability based on the ads, the 3 ads and the 2 sort of endgame personal scoring goals that you get. So there is that. It does feel a little bit differently every time you play the game, just because the things you're focused on are going to change. The map condition or the map shapes are going to change. So yes, I enjoy playing it. Yes, I will continue to enjoy playing it, but I don't know if I will continue to play it. I don't know if it will continue to hit the table, just because of the sort of mixed feelings I have, the length of the game, the length of the setup and cleanup, and so on. So I hope that this video was helpful for you. If it was, if you did enjoy this video, I ask, as always, please like, subscribe, and click the bell icon below, and I'll see you all next time. Thanks.